The Falcons are coming off a big win against Humboldt State, and this week, they played host to the real ASU, Jake. That is the Angelo State Rams, of course. On the gridiron, it started with gridlock. Only 3 points scored in the whole first quarter, but don't worry, folks. There would be plenty of points in this one. In the second quarter, teams exchanged touchdowns like they were blows from Apollo Creed to Rocky Balboa. Angelo State went into halftime leading 17-13, but the Falcons came out strong and put up a touchdown early in the third quarter to take the lead. But that would be it from our Falcons. Rams scored 27 unanswered points and win this one with the final of 44-20. Hope is not lost, though, for UTPB as they hit the road and head to eastern New Mexico for next week's matchup. But for now, let's take a deep breath and break down yesterday's game. I'm Marshall Kramsky, and you are watching Falcon Focus.
From the home of Falcon Football, CBS 7 presents Falcon Focus with Jake Dayton and Marshall Kramsky.
What's up, Falcon Faithful, and welcome to another week of Falcon Focus. I'm Jake Gayton.
And I'm Tatum Gwynn, and as always, we are joined with UTPB head football coach Justin Carrigan. Let's get right to work.
All right, good idea, Tatum. Let's always start with the first half, more specifically the first quarter. Defense, name of the game, coach. Looked like both defenses were really stout in that first quarter.
Yeah, I thought we came out well on defense for the first half, first quarter. Same for them, and I think a lot of it on both sides was probably just kind of feeling each other out a little bit. We started off in a Wildcat package and kind of tried to test some things out against them, some things we saw on film. Some decent stuff, something that we didn't come back to. I thought once we got Taylor in and got going in that first quarter and the first half, things were going well for us offensively once we kind of got settled in.
Talk about that real quick. Why did you decide to go Wildcat with KB right off the top?
Well, we had seen some stuff whenever Angelo played Abilene Christian early in the year. And Samaje from Midland League.
Of course, I know.
Backup quarterback. And so whenever he went in the game, we saw a different defense. And so what we were trying to do is entice them to start playing that way. And hopefully, unbeknownst to them, that Christian Brown was a quarterback in high school.
Really? New things to know every day.
So it wasn't quite the same. We were running the ball okay and trying to be a little bit more dynamic in what we were doing in our run game. They defended it fairly well. We got a first down and moved the ball a little bit, but it was something that we weren't getting defensively what we thought we were going to get, so we just went with Taylor and rode the night. Taylor did a good job.
Let's talk about Angelo's defense. They did a good job of holding before you guys caught a bit of a groove later on in the half. What did you see from their defense, and what would you have liked to see from our offense?
Well, we saw from them, pretty much what they do, and it's a base defense. They're going to play a four-man front, one backer in the box, and the secondary is going to be pretty deep and try to keep everything in front of them. Rely on their defensive line to stop the run and get after the quarterback a little bit. They did a good job of bottling up the run game and kind of kept us a little bit hampered in that. I think we ended at 120 yards on the night, but the efficiency wasn't there for us. The passing game was, and it was what we anticipated getting out of it. There was a few things there that they didn't adjust to well that we just probably did a little bit more than what we normally would and reaped the rewards from it early on through the first, second, third quarter.
And you talk about that, Coach. The running game wasn't really there, but our defensive line had 5 sacks in a result. You guys were only able to get 70 yards on the ground, but you decided to go to the attacking through the air. Did you just kind of take what the defense gave you on that type of thing?
Yeah, for the most part. It was kind of seeing some matchups. Taylor did a great job of seeing some coverage stuff where they were leaving Kyle McBride in the second quarter especially, and one-on-one coverage a bunch. And I think as we've seen the past few weeks, he's an explosive player. And there was even some times in there where I was calling a play to go elsewhere. And I even said on the headset, he threw a touchdown to Kyle McBride, and I said, why will he not throw the ball over here? And as the ball was in the air, I said, that's why. He threw a touchdown. He does a phenomenal job of seeing the field. They played how we thought they were going to play, and I thought we executed well in the passing game.
And there's multiple times where he took shots to McBride. Sometimes where they were there, and sometimes there weren't. The touchdown was a good example of that before the half. But again, I think there's a couple times in that first half where he kind of overshot him or didn't connect with him, which could have resulted in a touchdown. Am I right?
One time.
Okay.
And number 4 corner for them made a phenomenal play. Got a hand on the ball, is what it looks like on film. Initially, we thought Kyle dropped it. I think the guy broke it up. And then he was short on a pass to Balin Ware down our sidelines early in the second quarter. But besides that, we went in at halftime and he was 20 of 24 passing. I think he was on point.
So we'll touch on Taylor's game here in a moment. He had a really good game, but it seemed like he got you guys going after the touchdown in the beginning of the second quarter. What did you see that you liked from offense as you guys were able to score a couple touchdowns before halftime?
Well, we did a really good job of giving him some time. And one of those sacks that you mentioned, he had 5 seconds. And they had played good coverage. And we got to get rid of the football or scramble, get out of the pocket. But our offensive line did a good job of creating some time for him. And then we had some decent run game going on at that point as well. We were able to move the ball down the field and then hit on the big plays.
Y'all were, really got into a groove there for a minute. I loved it.
Did you want to try to possibly score one more time when you got the ball back with like 16 seconds left?
Absolutely. Six
seconds left. Sorry.
And,
it was not a long time.
And we got out of bounds. Obviously, we all felt like there was another second on the clock.
Yes.
From the 45-yard line, which would have been a 55-yard throw. I've seen him throw 65 in the air in a game, so I know that we had enough to get the ball down the field. We got the speed. I would have loved to have had that shot, but they said time ran out, so that's how it was. We went into halftime.
It is what it is. All right.
We're going to take a quick break, but before that, Marshall is taking a closer look at the Falcons' offense and was able to pick our Week 8 Falcon Offensive Player of the Week.
Well, guys, the diaper dandy, he's done it again. Freshman quarterback Taylor Knoll is your Week 8 Falcon Offensive Player of the Week. The stats look a little something like this. How about for 400 yards again, 3 touchdowns, and despite the 3 picks, how about an impressive 68 completion percentage? Well, it seems like week in and week out, Knoll is proving to us that he is the heart and soul for the future of the Falcons program. Congrats to Taylor, but make sure you stay with us when we come back. Jake Tatum and Coach will break down the Falcons' second half, and I'll tell you who our Defensive Player of the Week is. Don't touch that remote. Falcon Focus. We'll be right back. Let's go Falcons! Let's go Falcons!
We're back with more Falcon Focus with Jake Dayton and Marshall Kramsky.
Welcome back to Falcon Focus. It's now time to break down the second half of this game.
All right, that's right. Coming out of the half, Coach, things were looking good. You score a touchdown right before the half and then come out, strike in the third quarter on a touchdown pass from Knoll to Mitch Leonard. You got to be thinking, hey, this is exactly how we wanted to come out of halftime. Am I right?
It was good. It was good execution. The offense was moving the ball well. It was what you said. It's how you want to come out after half. Is scoring going into halftime, come out, you get another score. I think we had to stop because we had to kick off to them. We had to stop defensively. It's exactly how you want to start the second half.
Were you saying anything in the locker room? Hey, let's make sure we start the half? Because I feel like the third quarter, you've kind of come out sometimes either really on a good high or really on a bad low. Am I right on that?
I tell you the truth, I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
I know how we started off more explosive than what we were last night.
Very true.
The halftime talk is usually nothing more than go out and finish, try to get everybody locked in, whatever the score might be at that time. Erase all that. Start fresh, go play the next play and next quarter.
So no magic words.
Nah, no magic words.
Well, after that explosive start in the third quarter, the game changed. Things changed. Angelo went on to score 27 unanswered points. What do you think was the cause for that momentum swing?
Unfortunately, I think we'd caused a fumble. They didn't award us the ball. Everybody on our sideline felt like that ball was ours. I think it was, but they didn't give it to us. And you got to go out and you got to play the next play. And our kids didn't quit at that point, but we were far distracted. And we got too caught up in that one play that we weren't focusing on the next one. And again, our kids didn't quit, but we were just too distracted by that call. And unfortunately, you got to overcome that kind of stuff because it's not always going to go your way. And as mad as we might be, they're not going to change that, And no matter what, we got to go play. And I think at that point the game was 27-20, might have been 20-20. I don't recall, but we're still in that game. go play the next play, get it back the next time. And, and we didn't do that. The very next play, they threw the ball deep, got down to the 1 yard line, finished off a drive. And again, I think that at that point, we just kind of lost focus a little bit, unfortunately.
Big teaching moment going forward.
Exactly. Now, Taylor always has a good performance, and every week we feel like we talk about him. But is there another guy where you're like, okay, he's really complimenting Taylor, or another person that's maybe on the defense that's complimenting you guys?
Well, I think same as every year, Hode and Keegan Gray.
True.
Both play phenomenally well. And not having John O'Kelly out there and Jared Thames, those two guys are still kind of the lifeblood of our defense and have done a good job of carrying them. And our defense has played well. Justin Nichols in our secondary, he doesn't show up enough in the stat sheets, and he's a guy that's always doing his job and is in great coverage. Marquise Davenport had a good game last night as well. And, those guys played physical. They played hard. And unfortunately, there in the fourth quarter, we had a couple turnovers that gave them the ball in their end. One, they returned for a touchdown. And we gave them the short field a couple times there in the fourth quarter that they could easily put some points on the board. And, obviously there, we got to clean that up.
Yeah. Well, after the game, during a post-game interview with a few of the media, I overheard you say, I wish the scoreboard had said different, but you love our guys and you love where we are at. Talk more about that, that big picture and trying to get the other players to keep that in mind even after a game like last night.
Well, the players, you want them to understand, that it's all right there in front of us. And there's 6 seniors on this team. To not get that win and some of the other ones this year is tough. But don't lose sight of the fact of how close we are as a program, and that this isn't a locker room full of seniors on their way out, and we're not performing well. I think for where we're at and financially where we're at, currently we're at, on our budget piece of paper, we're at 22.4 scholarships. Everybody else in Texas is at 36. And with that, we're playing toe-to-toe with everyone, even the top 10 teams in the country we can battle with. And you don't want to go tell our guys that because, again, you're kind of sugarcoating stuff. We're still not winning on the scoreboard. Ultimately, that's what we all want to get to. But we're close. And as a program, we're close. And our Champions Fund is up and going. A lot of money coming in that account. We're going to have a lot more scholarships next year. We're going to be getting closer to our competition in that regard and being able to get more talented kids in here and be able to reward some of the ones that we have that aren't on very much money. And that'll help retain some quality talent that tends to leave, throughout the course of a program. And then in a couple, 2 or 3 years, you have some guys go on because they're just not on very much scholarship money.
Sure. Well, and the scores only tell one part of the story. That the record is just one part of it. You take a closer look, and we're so close.
Well, and again, you don't want to say you got 4 freshmen playing on offense, but there's 4 freshmen playing on our offense, and they're phenomenal. And you go, okay, Taylor Knoll completed 68% of his passes for 409 yards. And a couple of the mistakes that happen in there, those are going to happen to every quarterback in the country, Tom Brady included. The future with that guy leading our offense is unbelievably bright. And some of those freshmen that are out there with him as well. I love our guys. I love where we're at. I wish the scoreboard said different. But I know this much for sure. There's going to be a lot of winning in our future and some championships as well.
I'm excited for that.
Thanks, Coach. All right, we're going to send over to Marshall, who has this week's Defensive Player of the Week. Marshall, who we got?
Thanks again, guys. A lot of good options for this week's Defensive Player of the Week. But you know what? Who's it going to go to but Damian Brewer? The junior defensive back had a nice game highlighted by one major play in the first half. Let's check it out right now. Angelo State's quarterback, well, he thinks he's got some time. Step up in the pocket. Keegan Gray applies the pressure. Brewer says thank you very much and makes the big interception. That's a wrap for our offensive and defensive players of the week, but don't go anywhere. Later in the show, I will break down our play of the week.
We're back with more Falcon Focus with Jake Dayton and Marshall Kramsky.
Every week we're putting the spotlight on a member of the Falcon football program. This week we introduce you to freshman offensive lineman Matthew Greshel.
He was a 3-star recruit coming out of high school with multiple offers from Division I schools like Purdue. He says playing for the Falcons, though, was an offer he could not refuse.
Every Falcon you meet has a passion for the game of football. If you can't tell by looking at 6'5" freshman Matt Greshel, football is in his blood.
My dad's dad played for the Buffalo Bills before they were the Buffalo Bills. So yeah, it's been neat to continue the family's name through football. So
getting the opportunity to play college ball.
It's a dream come true. You know, a lot of kids want to go play at the next level.
Though this year, instead of protecting the QB week in and week out on the field, Greshel is earning his keep from the sidelines. He's a redshirt this year. He sees it as a good thing, a season where he can focus on learning from upperclassmen.
Once you've identified the defense, you just go ahead and get in your stance right here. It's just part of the process.
A reminder that he carries with him daily.
They gave us these bracelets right here. No complaining, no excuses. This isn't going to be the hardest time in your life that, you know, there's no excuse for you to stop. Just keep pounding, keep going.
He calls it a year of growth, waiting in line for his turn.
I'm just waiting for my time to be called, my number to be called, so just can't wait for that moment.
Coach, getting Matt, you said last year during, signing day, that he was a huge get for your program. Still feel by that?
Oh, absolutely. A 3-star national recruit, had multiple Division I offers. You said Purdue, there was a lot of other ones in there. And the guy right here in our backyard that at the end of the day, everybody in our conference and half the country was recruiting and offering. And to be able to get him to stay home is huge for the future of our program. But excited to have him for sure.
Absolutely. He said that he is just pumped about playing for the Falcons. Yeah. Can't wait for next year. We're going to go over to Marshall now one more time so he can tell us who the play of the week is.
Did I skip it? All right, guys, it's about that time. Lots of great plays, but only one could be our play of the week. And this one happened in the second quarter. It starts with Taylor Knoll doing what he does, rolling out to avoid the rush. And check this out. He's going to throw an absolute dime piece to Ben Galaviz for the touchdown to bring the Falcons right back into the game. Well, that's a wrap for all of our Falcon individual accolades, but don't fall asleep just yet. We got more Falcon Focus coming at you after the break.
We're back with more Falcon Focus with Jake Dayton and Marshall Kramsky.
Welcome back. Shifting gears a little bit this week, we're talking to a little bit of the volleyball team. The Falcon volleyball team is having a stellar season so far. At last check, they're ranked 5th in the conference.
I got to know one of their star players, Trevonna Matthews. What makes her really special is not just her play on the court, but what she has going on off the court.
Bump, set, vet tech. That's middle blocker Trevonna Matthews. Coming to UT Permian Basin was an easy choice for her.
Here we go, Falcons on 3, 1, 2, 3, Falcons! And he was like, hey, you're a good player. You want to come here? And I was like, sure.
On the court, Matthews dominates. She's 9th in conference in hitting percentage and 6th in blocks per set. If that doesn't impress you, she does all of that while going to school full-time and holding down a job at a local veterinarian clinic. A full plate, no doubt. But for Trevonna,
honestly, it's just like another day doing something that I like to do.
She says it's not hard being able to balance all of it successfully.
Since I really like my job, it's not really hard to try to stay focused there. As far as classes, I just try to relate it to something I really like so that it actually sticks in my mind. Volleyball, I've been playing it since I was 5, so that's not something that's really hard.
Working with passion and purpose, no matter what type of match.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're not talking football here, but Coach, how are the Falcon athletes as a support system to one another on the field and throughout the community?
I think they're great. The one thing that's kind of been the highlight, I think, in the past couple of years, obviously with men's basketball, is where you can kind of see the most student athletes. But if you just think about a football game and how many of the student athletes from multiple sports are out there just helping with the event, being involved. Right. It's always great to see. I like being involved and having our guys there as well. They like it and supporting one another. It's a great community.
Absolutely. Just walk around any of our football games. You'll see a lot of student athletes, and they are so happy to be there.
Oh, I love covering them as well. All right, thanks, Coach. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit of Falcon football. Of course, we're talking about Falcon football. It's Falcon Focus, and a quick look ahead to next week's Falcon opponent. Stay with us.
We're back with more Falcon Focus with Jake Dayton and Marshall Kramsky.
Welcome back to Falcon Focus.
All right, before we go, Coach, tough loss this week, but we're, of course, going to look forward to next week. Eastern New Mexico, have you even looked at them? Do you have any idea what you're going to deal with them?
A little bit. It's a new defensive coordinator, same offense, same head coach. He's also offensive coordinator. So we're going to see the triple option. For the Permian fans, it's going to be a similar offense. And it's obviously difficult to stop, as all those Mojo fans know. We've done a great job in the past. We've always had a good game plan going against them. We had to get ready for a new defensive coordinator and a guy that has been in this conference before, so a little bit of familiarity. A little bit I've seen. They got after Commerce pretty good.
Anything different as looking at other parts of the game? I know it's just start of the week.
No, I wish I knew more at this point. Very little. You get done grading the stuff from last night. You get a little bit of time to watch Eastern New Mexico, upcoming opponent, but a lot to digest here in the next 6 days.
Well, thanks, Coach Tatum. All right, that's all the time we have here on Falcon Focus. Thanks for joining us, and make sure to tune into the fifth quarter next week on CBS 7 at 10:15. For Marshall, Coach Tatum, myself, you'll have a great weekend.